Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 176 here on season number 2. And today we are getting into my top 3 business/financial books. So this question comes from Brandon Edwards, and he asks/says, Keith, what is your favorite business/finance book? These videos are meant for educational purposes only and not meant to be taken as financial advice. You are responsible for your assets and to properly protect them. So always please do your own research. Like, to give you like my overall favorite book, I mean, it's really hard to, I guess, narrow it down to like one specific book. That's why I guess I was able to narrow it down to just 3, but there are a ton of really good business finance books that are out there. For me though, I guess that my top 3 books are not specifically focused on like the practical aspect of financial investing or business, but more on like the theory and stuff that goes, I guess, what goes on behind the scenes, what makes a business tick and that kind of stuff, versus like practicality, how to generate sales, marketing plan that actually works and that kind of stuff. Like I was just saying, like I could sit here and rattle off tons of different books. I think about like The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. We'll just not even say the entire word, but like that book, really well written book, really encouraging, really inspiring to like trading in the zone, being really practical as far as being a swing trader, day trader. However, I guess to like narrow it down to just 3, the top one I would say that has, I guess, impacted me the most would be a book written by Ray Dalio called Principles. I know like everybody's like, oh great, he just gave away the answer, his top book. There's the other 2 are just as good as this one, but if I had to like narrow it down to one, it would be this one book. In there, he goes over why it's so important for you to have principles in place that govern basically decisions in life that you will make. And I feel like for me, like that was something that I needed to hear, because before it was pretty much I just made a decision based upon how more or less I felt that day or what the situation kind of called for. So for instance, if I can develop some principles in regards to investing and finances that could help me generate a lot better success than, for instance, just buying a stock, company, ETF, doing whatever I want with my money just off of a whim. And so I think that's why for me, I always try to preach like develop principles on how your account will operate, and then from there start making choices that are based upon those principles. Because for me, I feel like without principles, we're pretty much left to however we feel in that given moment, which typically leaves us with an irrational decision, which results in a unwanted or unplanned for result or consequence. The second book that I really also enjoy is called Eat People and Other Unapologetic Rules for Game-Changing Entrepreneurs. And this is written by Andy Kessler. This book for me was probably one of the biggest paradigm shifts that I've ever had when looking at investing in businesses and looking at developing my own business. For me, he takes more of a conceptual approach at looking at companies and doesn't really care about what their 10K report is or what their earnings are or anything along those lines. He focuses more on like the core of what a business is, what makes the business tick, why that business exists, and then also builds a case for people, for entrepreneurs that are changing the game. And I mean, before like I read this book, like I honestly really hated Amazon, and that was because of how I was treated as trying to sell on the platform and some just issues that happen up with customer service. But after reading the book, I realized like Amazon is actually an important part of our growing economy. In a way, they're actually helping each and every single one of us. The better they produce and develop the Amazon system, the faster that they can deliver those packages, the faster that they can ship. I mean, you got to think about it. 2-day shipping before Amazon was almost unheard of. Now it's like an everyday thing, and now it's almost done basically for free, more or less, through Amazon. I mean, obviously you got to have Amazon Prime, but through Walmart, it's done for free as long as you order something over $30 or $20 or something like that. That's kind of the way that I feel about it. Like for me, it was like, oh, like we need to focus on people that are producing stuff faster and stop focusing on people that are saying, hey, you know what? We need to make this more sustainable, because sustainability doesn't help grow our economy. Only producing things faster and more abundantly is what helps grow our economy. So it was very interesting, and almost like a big paradigm shift in the way that I view my own business, and then also the way that I view businesses in general. And then the last book is actually kind of a smaller book that most people probably haven't heard of. It's called Your Mark on the World, and this is written by Devin D. Thorpe. And it's actually kind of funny how I got my hands on this book. So Devin and I go like way back to when I was in college. It was interesting because I was getting very into like barefoot running, or just like, I guess, not having a sole in your shoe kind of running, like not having inserts and that kind of stuff. And so somehow like we stumbled upon each other. I don't know if it was through Twitter or if it was through his blog, or somehow we crossed paths in the internet space. And at the time he was over in China teaching, and I was, in college trying to successfully navigate graduation. At the time, I think I was like a sophomore, junior. Well, if you fast forward probably 2 to 3 years from that point, I was still in college, but he was working on releasing his book called Your Mark on the World. And at the time, I was still a broke college kid, didn't have even enough to support his Kickstarter, $5 or something like that, to be able to get a pre-ordered book. Eventually had this giveaway through a different site, and I ended up winning. But I mean, knowing Devin, I could have probably just reached out to him via Twitter or email or something like that, and I'm sure that he would have just sent me a book for free. So in the actual book, he talks more specifically about, first of all, social entrepreneurs' stories. So people that are going over to third world countries and working with charities, and people that are here in the inner city, helping out children that are in the inner city, helping out the poor that aren't able to afford housing, all that kind of stuff. He talks about probably, I think, 10 different stories of people that are doing social change and creating a good in the world. And I'm like, this is awesome. And then also, so it was one chapter was about how to help set up your finances so that you can later on in life do the same thing that these people are doing. And then the next chapter was a story about someone that is creating social change, that's creating social good in the world. And I was like, this is so awesome. And so in there, he lays out why it's important to make sure that you don't have debt, why it's important to make sure that you're investing in the market, and how kind of to create a form of income that eventually you could either take that money and donate to someone else that's pursuing that social passion, that social change that you want to see in the world, or leading the charge to make that social change happen via your own finances. Literally all these books have been to some degree life-changing, have paradigm shifted, have changed my worldview and tweaked it and shifted it, I guess, to what I am really, really passionate about. And so I guess for me, none of these books at the basic level talk about investing practically into the market. So none of them are going to cover stop losses, dollar cost averaging. But I think it's so important, especially for me, to have that kind of fundamental theoretical side of it before I actually got into investing. So that way, I guess I kind of knew what was at stake. I knew the reasons why I was investing, and I knew why it wasn't so important for me to continue to make those regular deposits at the cost of maybe not going to Starbucks for that week, or not spending money on this versus that, not going to buy that versus this. It was really, really helpful to kind of, I guess, develop my own principles, understand what makes businesses tick, and then understand why it's so important to know that stuff, so that way I can take it from there and then in turn help either fund or create social change and social good in the world that I would like to see happen. But anyway, we're going to leave it right there. Let's go ahead and jump into the question of the day, which is, what do you like that is traditionally considered feminine? Personally, I love to cook, and I think that cooking is more likely to consider feminine, but I really love cooking. Actually, I cook dinner for my wife and son probably about 5 days a week. I would say that, we take about 2 days off where we eat leftovers or we go out to eat or whatever it may be. But I really absolutely enjoy cooking. And if you ask my wife, I think that she would seriously say that I do a very, very good job at cooking. She tells me, yo, babe, this food is so good. Anyways, go ahead and leave right there. Like I always say, if you got a question regarding Stash, Acorns, Robinhood, M1 Finance, as well as general investing, business, Etsy, coaching, please post those questions down below. Don't forget to subscribe right up here. Check out these 2 videos right here in the link. And as always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it.